In this tutorial, we will be talking about molecules with more than one functional group or side chain. So how to name a molecule which has more than one functional group or side chain. Let's take an example. So in this molecule, we have two carbon atoms, which are the black ones, and the bonds are single bonds. How did we know that they are single? If you count the bonds, you will find that each carbon atom has 4 bonds, which means that it has 4 single covalent bonds, and thus this is an alkane. And because we have 2 carbon atoms, this is ethane. However, these are not all hydrogen atoms. The hydrogen atoms are in white, and those in green correspond to a halogen. Let's say, for example, these are chlorine atoms. So we have 2 chlorine atoms bonded to 2 carbon atoms in the molecule of ethane. So the name of this molecule will be 1,2-dichloroethane. So let's examine this name carefully. So we know why did we put ethane. Let's check the 1,2-dichloro part. So because we have 2 chlorine atoms, we added the prefix di. So di means that we have 2. If we have 3, we will add a tri, and so on. Examine the molecule. Are these chlorine atoms attached to the same carbon atom? The answer is no. So each chlorine atom is attached to one carbon atom. And this is why we added the numbers 1 and 2. Because if we didn't write 1, 2, and we wrote, for example, dichloroethane, this means that the 2 chlorine atoms will be attached to the same carbon atom. So always keep in mind that you have to indicate the position of each side chain or each functional group. Let's take another example. So we have this molecule, which contains a bromine atom and an iodine atom, and we have 3 carbon atoms in the main chain. So the root name will be propane because we have 3 carbon atoms bonded singly to each other. Let's number the carbon chain 1, 2, and 3. So numbering in this direction will give the numbers 1 and 2. Whereas if we numbered in the opposite direction, we will have the numbers 1, 2, and 3, and thus the positions of the functional groups will be 2 and 3. So between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, we will choose the least numbers, which are 1 and 2. You may think that we should start with iodine because it is on carbon 1. However, we will start with bromine because according to IUPAC rules, bromo will be written before iodo because the substituting groups are put in alphabetical order rather than in the numerical order of the functional groups. So we have bromine and iodine. However, we will follow the alphabetical order. So bromo will be written before iodo, but this will not affect the numbers. So we will write 2-bromo 1-iodopropane. Pay attention that if we want to separate numbers and words, we will be using this dash. However, if we are separating numbers, we will use a comma.